If you're looking to buy, sell, or trade the stuff that strokes your engine, anything from truck parts to classic and muscle cars, RVs to hot rods, and everything in between, then check out our official classifieds at racingjunk.com. Racingjunk.com is the world's number one online racing and performance marketplace, the ultimate one stop shop where you'll find what you need to rock your ride. If it belongs in your garage, it's for sale on racingjunk.com. Log on to racingjunk.com to find the gear you're looking for, sell your extra stuff, keep up on racing news and tech tips, and more. Again, that's racingjunk.com. Promoting a track takes heart, and now showing appreciation can be just as easy. With send out cards, you can thank sponsors, volunteers, drivers, and fans with personalized digital cards sent right from your phone or laptop. Add a photo, write a message, and hit send. It's that simple. Unlimited sends for just $10 a month. Go to sendoutcards.com/53240. That's sendoutcards.com/53240 because gratitude builds great tracks. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Ella Wu-Heilman. And that's sweet. She just waved at all of you. So if you're listening to it, I'll just tell you, she waved and said hi. She's such a sweet, sweet young girl, and I'm excited to hear about her story in motorsports. But first, Ella, I want to welcome you to the show, and I would like you to share a little bit about yourself, your pets, what other sports you do, all those kinds of things that people want to know about you.
Yeah, I'm Ella. I'm 15. I live in the Pacific Northwest in Washington. I've been riding motorcycles for 13 years now. I've tried plenty of other sports like soccer and karate, but none of them have just called my name, unlike racing. And I have 3 pets right now, and I just got out of school, and life's been great.
So you're out for the summer.
Yes, I just got out 2 days ago, actually.
Oh, wow. So you guys go a long time then.
Yeah, we had a lot of power outage days, so
Oh, okay.
to make those up.
And then when do you start school? After Labor Day or before?
I start school in the middle of August.
Oh, yeah. So that was a long year, wasn't it?
Yeah, very long.
Yeah, it's going to be a short summer, so you got to make the most of it for sure.
Yeah.
So, you're 15 years old and you've been riding motorcycles for 13 years. So you started as a little tiny girl.
Yes, I did.
Wow. So we'll get into that a little more. You have 3 pets. What kind of pets do you have?
I have 2 cats and 1 dog.
Okay.
I'm a big cat lover, I would say, but I also do like my dogs. So
Okay. All right. And do you have any siblings?
I don't. I am an only child.
Okay. All right. So there's nothing wrong with that. That you get all your mom's attention, right? That's
Yeah.
great. For sure. So Ella, tell me, how did you get interested at 2 years old to ride motorcycles and now you're involved in motorsports?
My dad had grew up in Eastern Washington, and around there, it's all farms and all of that. So he grew up riding ATVs and dirt bikes and tractors and all that. And he loved riding dirt bikes all the time, and it continued with him into his adult years. And then I came along, and he wanted to put that passion towards me and, really set me up to, learning how to drive in the future and how learning a dirt bike or a motorcycle may help with that. And I started off, riding around in like little fields on like a little PW50 and him just learning me and then eventually going to, dirt tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just gets in your blood, doesn't it? You go to the track and then your dad, when are we going back to the track? I can hear you saying that to him for sure. Yeah. So, Ella, what's your favorite thing about being involved in motorsports?
The community is so strong. You learn so much from other people and other people's experiences. And, it's lovely finding other people that really love the same passion as you.
Hmm.
And it just creates this, strong bond with people that you can't find, in everyday life. Like,
Yeah.
I have friends in school and stuff like that, but that bond is way different than the bond I have with people who race. And, I'm a big adrenaline junkie. So the adrenaline that comes with it is also like, you can't find that anywhere else either.
No, that's true. And, I often ask kids how their classmates or friends, when they're off doing something else on the weekend and you're like, "No, I can't. I'm racing." They don't get it. But
Yeah.
it's such if you're passionate about racing, you're not going to miss racing to go to the movie. I'm sorry. You can watch it on TV later or
Yeah.
whatever. You can't redo the race. And so
Yeah.
that's something that I think a lot of people who are not involved in motorsports don't understand about all of us that are, because we are serious about not missing out on whatever it might be that we can watch or be a part of for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you race? How, what did you get started? You got started on a little 50cc, you said. So where
Yeah.
have you gone from there?
Well, the biggest bike I race right now is a Kawasaki Ninja 400, which is
Mm.
way bigger than a 50.
Oh, yeah.
But I've gone from, in the beginning to only racing dirt. I hadn't touched a street bike or anything like that. So in my dirt days, I was racing 125s and little 85s. And then COVID hit and every track in America shut down. So we
Pretty
were
much. Yeah.
very limited. So I only rode like little trails and then that was it. And then my dad had brought up, Supermoto and riding on tracks because he had gone to a couple of track days with bigger bikes like that. And he wanted to get me involved in that because I hadn't touched a bike at all during COVID. And he wanted me
Hmm.
to regain confidence and start riding again. So I picked up a YCF 125 and that got shipped, and me and my dad built it up. And then I soon got comfortable on that bike and then started on a Honda 150, and that's what I race in Supermoto. And now I'm involved with WIMRA, so now I'm racing a Kawasaki Ninja 400.
Wow. You went from a 150 to a 400.
Yeah.
That's a big jump. What was the hardest thing for you to overcome when you jumped to the 400?
I was really hard on myself, I didn't think I was gonna get it or I wasn't gonna use that bike to full potential right away because I was so used to a 150 and growing up in those classes and still being from an amateur class, going up to a novice class and then an advanced class. And I just thought I wasn't capable of doing it. And, being out there with the older people on this way bigger bike, because I was out with older people on the 150, but the bigger bikes is just so different.
Well, they're heavier for one thing,
Yeah.
and you don't look like a very big girl, so
No.
it probably outweighs you by several hundred pounds.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I had to gain this confidence to being on it, just sitting on it. And I've only been on it a couple of times. School's held me back a little bit, but I just have to keep telling myself, I'm gonna get there. I haven't been on it a lot of times, but it will come to me like it came, like how my 150 did. So that's
Yeah.
all I have to tell myself.
Yeah, and it's just gaining confidence and seat time, and it'll all get there for sure. Is motorcycle racing something that you think you wanna do for a long time?
For sure. I don't think I'll ever let it go. I think it will always be there with me.
Mhm. I figured as much because your smile is from ear to ear when you talk about it for sure. Um, so do you work on the bike or does somebody else work on it, or does it really need much work in between the races?
My dad has definitely restored a couple bikes other than our race bikes, so he's got some knowledge in that. But I think some of our race prep, he's definitely WIMRA is very like stingy on what you need to have on the bike and what you can't have on the bike. So he's read the list of things top to bottom and made sure, I have what I need to have. So he's worked on that. And then some other big projects, we take it to Two Wheel Dyno Works, which is a shop out in Washington. But other than that, all of our bikes stay in our little garage and, have some time to work on it. My dad teaches me some things and I'm able to learn, what goes on in the bike, not just, riding it, but, knowing what I need to do.
Yeah, how it works, how it makes
Yeah.
everything go for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go to school.
hmm
You are you involved in any other activities at school?
I this was only my freshman year that I finished, so I was mainly focused on testing the waters,
Uh-huh.
at school and getting everything figured out.
Yeah.
And
That's a big deal to get into high school, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. It's a big change from being the 8th grader that's like you're the oldest ones and then you get to high school and now you're the youngest ones and then, you know, kids grow a lot in those 4 years. So there's a lot of age difference between um so, and you're busy, you have friends and you do things. How do you take care of Ella? How do you make sure that Ella sleeps good, eats good, gets her homework done, does all the things that she needs to do?
I really put my school work first, I think. Sometimes I do miss out on races that I really want to go to. Like last week, I had my finals all going on, and I did have to miss a big race. And I had to, my dad did have to text people, I won't be showing up for, the third time in a row because school had just put
Mhm.
so much on me and so many tests and so many big projects. And I think for me, school is a big deal and I want to achieve, good grades for, college and all of that.
Mhm.
So I do make sure my homework is done and out of the way and I'm prepared for stuff. And I do bring, when I have the chance, homework to the track or track days, and I do that after I'm done racing. So there's not really any me time sometimes.
Mhm.
I'll race 3 weekends in a row and it's just so much going on. And then I also try to put friends there also because I know those are my big supporters as well. And so I try to find time for them as well. But, during, I think, breaks, when I have spring break or winter break, I really try to put myself first, take a day to relax. So right now I've been silent, relaxing.
Good. Good. You need that. Everybody needs some downtime for sure. So everybody has bad days at the track. That's a given. Everybody I talk to, they all say, "Yep, that's true."
Yeah.
So when you have a bad day at the track, whether it be something you did or somebody else did or the bike's not running right, how do you handle that? Do you throw things? Do you go to the holler and you cry? How do you handle that?
There's been some times where, 100 degrees out, I'm over it, lock myself in the trailer, lay down with the bikes in the trailer and, cry it out.
Mhm.
Sometimes I go to my parents, we talk it out and we say, hey, maybe this is a sign you do need a break and let's just take that off. And
Yeah.
so we cancel some races and I sit there and I reflect on what
Mhm.
is really happening. We're a family that's big on, let's find out what's making you feel this way. So I think that's a big part when it comes to me being frustrated. I do get frustrated very easily, I think, and I've been very aware of it and I've been trying to, really be more aware of it. I tell myself, oh, I'm aware of my emotions, but I'm definitely trying to put more effort into that because it shows how it affects my racing and it
Mhm.
affects the people around me. So that's a big thing. So I'm trying not to lock myself in the trailer anymore. I'm trying to take it all out on the track and,
Yeah.
talk about it. So that's what I do.
You know, racing teaches so many things that are what I call life lessons.
hmm
Um, I talk to a lot of young girls and I talk to a lot of older women too, and they say the same thing. I had a lady, she was in her 40s, and she said, until I started racing, I didn't deal with adversity very well. I was an introvert. Now I'm an extrovert. All these different things, that racing has helped her overcome some challenges. Whereas she said, if I wasn't involved in racing, I don't know where I'd be. I'm
Mhm.
going to ask you, I know you're 15, so, you've got a lot of years ahead of you yet, but has there been anything that you can say, if it wasn't for racing, this would not have happened, or I wouldn't be where I am today?
Yeah. If it wasn't for racing, I definitely wouldn't be as active as I am today. I I don't think I would have met as many people as I do and, gained communication skills along the way because as, a little kid, I was extroverted and I did do stuff outside of school, but, racing, really helped me be more extroverted and want to talk to more people. And,
Hmm.
it was a great conversation starter just racing,
Yeah.
and I think it's great on all aspects, taking people out of their shell. And I love meeting new people. I love
Hmm.
gaining new friends, who seem introverted and, making them extroverted. Like that's such a fun thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. That's so true. So let's pretend today's race day. You get up, you probably have breakfast or whatever, but do you have a routine? Do you like, I always have McDonald's for breakfast on the way to the track. I always wear the same socks when I race, whatever it might be. Do you have anything like that going on when it's race day at your house?
Um, I'm waking up by my dad every single time. I forget to set an alarm. I never know when we're leaving. So
Yeah.
he wakes me up. I turn music on and I pack, what I forgot to pack the night before. And I help my mom get all the food into the RV and, help. A big thing I do is help back up the trailer because some people
Hmm.
have big problems with that. I'm
Yeah.
great to have it done first try, so I really focus on that when getting ready so we can just leave.
Uh-huh.
And I sit in the back of the trailer and I put my headphones on and I kind of just zone out, listen to what I need to listen to and maybe stop at Starbucks on the way. Starbucks is
Okay.
always essential.
Yeah.
And then when we show up to the track, sign in, and that's it. And then I walk in, and that's the
That's how it
rest.
starts. Is
Yeah,
there any kind of track food that's your favorite? Like when you go to the track, you're like, oh, I always have to have this.
I a big thing. That's a big thing for me. Well, it's not eating on during lunches. I don't eat during racing at all. I don't know what it is for me. It's not like a big set routine. It's more of like, oh, I just don't want to eat. But I don't eat lunches at all. I need to be finished with all of my races before I want to eat. I don't know what it is. I think it's just, all the adrenaline that's going
Hmm.
through me and it just doesn't feel like eating. Or,
Yeah.
I've had things where I do eat lunch and then I like end up like feeling like I'm going to throw up, like it's too
Hmm.
much. So I don't eat until I'm done with the
Yeah.
races. But
You know what? That's the norm.
yeah.
Most girls I talk to that race, they might have a little snack or something, but they do not eat any kind of a meal or a sandwich or anything until they're done. So you're right there among the normal for sure. Yeah, that's pretty typical. So if a mom came up to you and maybe your mom or dad at the track and her little girl had been watching you and they said, my little girl wants to be like Ella. How do you get started racing? What would you say to them and would you encourage them to get involved in motorsports?
I tell everybody, no matter the gender, no matter the age, always get into motorsports. There are risk factors, but those factors don't really matter when you're out there and you're having fun and doing what you love to do. Like this is what some people spend their lives on
Hmm.
because this is truly what they love to do. And I think getting started is, learning how to ride a bike and then getting that little 50 or a Stasic or anything and going out to a field or going out on some trails and, just learning how the bike works and not committing 100% until you try it and
Yeah.
you know you're going to fall in love with the sport deeper and deeper as you go.
Yeah, exactly. And there's, nowadays we're so lucky. We can Google just about anything, and
Hmm.
you can Google, closest place to practice motorcycle, all those things. And so I always encourage people that, if you don't know where to go, Google and then go to the track on track day and talk to people.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to encourage you to join and be part of it. So that's something that I always like to tell people to do as well. Now, are there a lot of girls that race motorcycles against you, or are you pretty much the minority?
I think in Supermoto, I've met a handful of girls. I would say five other girls that I've raced Supermoto for
Mm-hmm.
5-ish years. But, going into the bigger bikes, I've definitely met a bunch of other women. But, girls my age, it's just hard finding girls my age that
Mm-hmm.
are doing what I do.
Yeah.
And I think that really limits to me who I talk to because I'm more comfortable, talking to women or talking to girls my age because
Right.
this is what I grew up in school doing. And it's definitely put me out of my comfort zone, to talk to older men or talk to dudes I'm racing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say I'm a minority, definitely when it comes to racing.
Yeah.
I'm racing men in their 40s and early 20s and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a difference in everything.
So do they make you feel welcome though, or do they just not pay any attention to you, or do they race you differently because you're a girl?
Mm, there's definitely some different vibes they give off when they talk to me or when they race to me. They're not talking like how they do to their buddies or anything like that. But I would say they race me the same. They don't guess that
Okay.
because I'm a girl, I'm gonna, be all over the track and
Yeah,
race differently. No, I keep up with them. There's been
that's
times
good.
where I've beaten them and stuff like that. So they don't I know they're giving their 100% on the track because they want that medal or they want that pole. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, I try to put that 100% on the track with them to show them, this is what I can do too. And I can do
Right.
your same 100%.
Yeah, that's good. I think things have gotten better as far as a woman being treated more equal at the track because there's so many more out there now that
Yeah.
are doing it. And even if there's still only maybe 4 or 5 of you racing against 20 guys, um, there used to be none or one, and so now they're accepting it way more than they used to, for sure. So,
Yeah.
do you have somebody that you look up to as far as somebody that races motorcycles or that you follow that you're kind of like, or maybe somebody you've met that you really like that you follow?
Not at the moment. I definitely do follow a bunch of people on Instagram and girls like that, and I follow, their track journeys or, first time on the track journeys. And I think, watching all these different women, not just one person, but all these different women, shows me, I'm not alone
Mm-hmm.
in this whole like process. And I think just looking up to every single woman that is out there,
Yeah.
trying their hardest on this sport that all of us love, that's who I look up to. Not just one single person that I like to idolize. It's just like everybody. I love
Yeah.
everybody that like shows their journey online as well.
That's cool. Do you know who Kayla Yakov is?
I do. I'm
I
very close
figured.
to play
I
with.
figured you did. It's funny. I started this in 2017, and I believe it was 2018 when I first started doing some podcasting type things, interviews. And I'm pretty sure that's the year that I interviewed her. She was little. She was young and she was killing it on
Yeah.
her motorcycle. And so I've stayed in touch and followed her, ever since. And she's just amazing for sure. But I figured you'd know who that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody given you any advice as far as how to handle people or how to drive your bike, anything at all that has really kind of stuck with you?
Mainly the stuff my dad has told me and my mom has told me, and there is this one guy who has coached me from, just starting off. His name is Todd. He does race with WIMRA and, races with Northwest Minimoto, and he's a good person, to talk to and to follow. And he's definitely told me a bunch of stuff, and I've learned a bunch of stuff from him, on the track and off the track as well.
Yeah, that's good. You know, it's good that you listen to your parents, but some kids don't listen to their parents, and so it's always nice to not only hear it from your parents though, but from somebody else to reinforce, some things so that you can be the best you can be and learn as much as you can. So do you have a favorite race memory? It could be good or bad. It could be when hopefully you never flipped your bike or had a wreck, but it could be that, or it could be you almost want to race or you want to race. What would be your best favorite memory?
I think it was definitely a funny one, I think. I was racing, it was a small race. I was racing against two other people, and my grandma was there, and she was on the side of the race line on the straightaway. And I had just passed this guy coming out of, the second to last corner, and I had passed him on the straight, and I looked back, and my grandma was right there, and he was right there, and I had just beaten him in like maybe half a second, and my grandma started cheering, and this other lady that was right next to her, and she's like, "That's my granddaughter. That's my granddaughter that just won." And the lady that was right next to her, she goes, "And that's my grandson she just beat." It was so funny. So
That
funny.
is great. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. But you know what? I bet they became friends because
Yeah.
they, they both had a common interest in that race.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too cute. I love that. I love that your grandma was there and
Yeah.
and saw that. So
She
fun for sure. So, what about social media? I know that that's a big part of, everybody's talking about you got to have a brand or create your brand. You got to be on social media, all these things.
yeah.
You're at the age where social media is where it's at for sure.
Yeah.
How do you use it? And then how can we follow you? And what's the best place to like keep track of your racing and follow your career?
Yeah, so I post a lot of stuff on Instagram. I'm definitely trying to post more. I'm really stingy about it. I post a bunch of photos that photographers are taking out on the track, and posting what a day at the track looks like, and videos my mom takes or my dad takes and stuff like that. Or parts that I get from sponsors and the other people I'm really connected with on there. And I think that's where, I put everything out on. I don't have a lot of followers on it right now, but I'm
It's
definitely
okay.
trying to gain it up more and more.
Hmm.
And definitely, I think I need to post more to do that. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you probably have to ramp that up, that one works with the other, but it's one of those things that in due time it will happen as you go to more races, as you are seen more,
Mhm.
you're on podcasts and all those kinds of things. People start to know your name and then they start to follow, and it's just kind of a continuous snowball in a way that it keeps growing. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I encourage you to do that. That's a great way to get your name out there. And also, the thing about it is they want to know more than just about your racing, you
yeah,
know. And so when you said, show them what a day's like at the track, a lot of people have never been to watch a motorcycle race. And so if you post like, here we are driving into mid Ohio, here,
mhm,
I'm going to be racing such and such today, the top runners in this race today will be Joe Schmo and whoever it would be, they
yeah,
want to know those kinds of things too, other than just watching you race around the track. And there's two gals that they don't race motorcycles, but they're very good at the social media part. If you want to follow them, one is Taylor Cool. It's Kuehl, She moved from Arizona to Iowa to race cars by herself when she was like 18, 19 years old.
Whoa.
Amazing young woman, and is really good at social media. And then the other one is Kylie Glick, and she races, like a street stock or some kind of a car like that. But she's a great young gal, and she's really good too at, the social media. It would be good to follow just to kind of see what they do, because they've really done a good job of being very positive and yet promoting not only just their racing but themselves and who they are. And
Yeah.
that's what people want to know. They want to know, who is Ella. She loves pepperoni pizza and she hates asparagus. I mean, seriously, it sounds funny, but that is what people, they want to know who you are, because once they know more about you, then they want to follow and support you.
Yeah.
So, that's something that a lot of people on social media forget. They think their brand is all about their bike or their car, and it's not. It's your brand is who you are.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to do and remember for sure. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that we should have talked about?
I think that covered basically everything,
Yeah, I try to cover a lot in a short time for you to be able to tell your story for sure. When will you race again? Do you know?
I think I have a race in a couple weeks, something 2 weeks or something like that, three
Okay.
weeks. So,
And do you race mostly in Washington or do you travel?
I think the farthest I've gone so far is Oregon, which is,
Okay.
a sister state,
Yeah.
but, you
Yeah.
know, trying to be more, but
Yeah. So where do you normally go to race? Do you have a track that's like your home track?
I love going out to Tri-Cities in Washington or McMinnville in Oregon,
Okay.
Shelton, Washington. Those are great places where they have tracks out there as well. Mainly
Okay.
tracks, the middle of nowhere. That's where the best ones are.
They are. See, I live in Michigan and we have a lot of little tracks that are really out in the country,
Yeah.
and they're the best. They
Yeah.
really are the best. Yeah, for sure. Well, Ella, thank you for being on with me today. This has been a great conversation. Um, like I said, if there's anything I have missed, be sure to, say, hey, yeah, we need to say this. Otherwise, I think I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. That was a really good conversation.
That was fun. Okay, well, you hang on. I'm going to stop the recording and then I'll talk to you when it's over. Just a second.
Okay.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind the scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.